Good morning. It is day 3 of the reading rush. Hello, Lils. My dog's ears just perked up when I said good morning really loud. I am about to finish Moll Flanders, so I think that I'm gonna just do a quick read of that, and I've got my morning tea with me. Let me show ya. What's possibly my new favorite mug. Love it a lot, so let's get cracking. That's another book down for the reading rush, and I still have tea left. So the second half of this book, and what I was finishing today, basically is after Moll gets caught for stealing one last time, she narrowly escapes the death penalty by being transported to Virginia, basically as like a, prisoner, and she and one of her estranged husbands, who's also getting transported, end up selling themselves in indenture, and then they meet back up with her husband, who's really her brother that she never got divorced from, and her son that she pretends is her cousin because she doesn't want the husband that she's currently with. This gets really complicated. She doesn't want the husband that she's currently with to know that she married her brother and had kids with him, even though it was by accident. And essentially, they end up kind of living happily ever after. Her brother dies, and then she tells her husband everything, and he's okay with it. And then I guess this is like one of the really more troubling things about reading this in the modern age, but their happily ever after comes because they're able to work off their indenture and start a plantation where they own slaves. And the sort of disconnect between the emphasis on redemption and providence for a life of wickedness and sin and crime and everything does not get extended at all to owning other people as property. Like, I understand that that's a product of the time. It's just a little jarring as a modern reader to see that disconnect between the emphasis on repenting for your sinfulness, and then everybody's just sort of okay with owning slaves, owning people. So, book was good. I think that it has some of the issues that other early novels do, where it kind of tends to meander and ramble a little bit and run out of steam, and the pacing in it is really weird. Like, the first 100 pages, a lot happens. Like, she gets married 3 times, she has a bunch of kids, and then it kind of slows down as she gets a bit older, and then the last 20 years of her life is very crammed into basically the last 50 pages or so of the book. And a lot of it is honestly just lists of things like linens and household goods and other things that she and her husband are able to buy, and gifts that they're giving to people that they know now that they, have made their fortunes and turned their lives around. And it, I know this as someone that's read a lot of books from this period. I can read between the lines of what that means, but I could understand how, if you're not familiar with this period, you're why are they just listing off a laundry list of things? So it was a good book. I think it was the best book that I've read so far for the reading rush. I think I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely liked it a lot more than Robinson Crusoe, and I think that's still the only full-length Daniel Defoe work that I've read. But I think I'm gonna continue with reading his novels, and I really want to read Journal of the Plague Year in the future. So, gonna go take my dog out. I'll see you later. Bye. So I just started reading Out of Salem by Hal Shreve, and I can tell already that I think there's a really good chance I'm going to love this book. I'm only on page 18, and we have just been introduced to our main character, Z. This is the book that has a non-human protagonist. Z's a zombie and also a witch, and the book begins with a little bit of macabre gallows humor, because Their parents and their siblings have all recently died in an accident, which Z is the only survivor of, and at the funeral, their zombie eyeball falls out in the middle of the eulogy. And yes, that's really kind of like depressing and creepy and gross, but it's also freaking hilarious, and I can tell I think I'm really gonna like this, so hooray! It's about 5 o'clock on day 3 of the reading rush. Today is the day that I am getting ready to host my readathon at the public library. I just came to this little park nearby so I could walk my dog, get some of that kind of thing done beforehand. I did finish reading, what is it called, Heartwood, which is my book with 5 or more or 6 or more words in the title. It was just okay. Like, I'm glad that I bought it because I'm glad that I supported those content creators and their like comic book making, but I just thought that the consistency and quality of the stories was not what I had hoped it would be. And then I maybe started into about 80 pages of Out of Salem, which I really love so far. That's what I'm going to bring to the read-in tonight. See ya. So I just had kind of a huge brain fart. I realized that while I had the date correct for the Reading Rush read-in, I thought it was Wednesday and not Thursday. So I reserved the correct date for our meeting room. If you're coming to the read-in in Redmond, Washington, don't worry, we'll still be there. Just your dumb read-in host got there a full 24 hours too early. So, seeing as I showed up a day early to my own read-in, I think now I'm just gonna go to a cafe and do some reading anyway. I'm feeling really sleepy, and I guess I must be, considering that I don't know what day it is anymore. So, probably gonna get some more Out of Salem read when I do that. Bye.